and our smart lights turned pink for Roman. It started with the room blushing behind my back. I was in the hallway juggling a bag of mandarins and the graceless end of a work call when the living room flushed, walls, ceiling, the plant leaves silent as a secret. The app chimed on my phone with a little confetti fanfare. Scene activated. Roman. The lighting company named everything like cocktails, Arctic dawn, reading nook, movie night. We had invented our own too, dinner like adults and stay in the kitchen and kiss me. Roman was new. Roman was not mine. I pushed the door with my foot. The apartment was small and suddenly theatrical. The pink wasn't cheap. It was the careful kind of warm that flatters accidents into intention. On the coffee table, a remote lay face down like a conscience. My wife, Myra, stood by the window with a glass of water and a face that had chosen to be brave. "You named a light after him," I said, and my voice surprised me by arriving dry instead of biblical. She looked at the air between us and the lamp shade, as if the truth might be hiding under either. "He named it," she said. "I saved it." The mandarins lived on the counter, one rolling away like punctuation. I opened the app. There it was, living among our scenes, Roman. The last run time blinked a minute earlier. I thumbed into the history. The log had a series of polite disclosures. 1908 Roman activated. 1912 dimmer adjusted. 1913 color shifted. Each note felt like a tiny, eager clerk. My job is logistics. I understand clerks. I also understand that the things we measure too well become the things we obey. I closed the app because I wanted to be a person and not a report. "Is he here?" I asked. "No," she said. "He is." The lights made her look like a decision I might yet be smart enough to take. I walked to the wall panel and tapped off. The room sank into the honest gray of evening, as if the apartment was relieved to be under oath again. "Why pink?" I asked, a foolish question that still wanted an answer. "Because you can't argue with it," she said softly. "Because it is an announcement and a mercy. Because it made me feel like a person who chooses." "The app says you chose at 1908, I said. "The app is very proud of you." She put the glass down, water landing like applause you don't trust. "You hate the theatrics," she said. "I hate the part where the room learns a man's name before I learn the problem," I said. She took a breath that made her collarbone a thesis. "The problem is not a man," she said. "The problem is I wanted to feel wanted before the dishwasher finished." We have a recurring cast of names. Dasha curates spaces for people who want to be documented while pretending not to. Roman designs those spaces and moves through them like they hired him for his mouth. I have made my peace with the fact that some men are architecture cosplaying as weather. "I deleted his car profile," I said, remembering the night my sedan patted his knee. "I removed his face from the doorbell. I turned off the mattress evangelism. But now the lamps know him." She smiled sideways, a kindness that didn't ask to be praised. "Light doesn't belong to anyone," she said. "It just wants a body to land on." I picked up a mandarin and peeled it like I was negotiating a truce. "Let me ask the stupid question," I said. "Did you sleep with him?" Her eyes stayed on me. "Yes," she said. "Twice, not here until tonight apparently." I nodded because the body requires gestures to continue. We stood in the ordinary light and let the air tell its version of the story. The radiator ticked like a conscience. A neighbor sneezed. Somewhere outside, a siren forgot how to stop. I pressed the app again and stared at the list of scenes, the little colored squares that tell you what kind of night you've rented. Roman glowed pink as if it had been waiting for a finger to decide it would never be pressed again. 14 nights, I said, because 30 is a documentary and 7 is a dare. 2 weeks where our home belongs to people who live in it. No lighting named after men who practice being the main character. We make new scenes and we call them by verbs, not names. She laughed once, bright and unkind to neither of us. Verbs. Want stop, now come home, I said. Kiss with garlic on your breath, take your shirt off before I lose my courage. That kind of verb. She walked to me and set her palms on my chest like she was checking a load-bearing wall. And what do you put under the new bulbs? She asked. Besides rules. Now, I said. I keep saying now until it stops sounding like a complaint and starts sounding like a plan. I put my hands on you before the app can tell us the mood. I arrive with hunger, not proof. Her mouth did the little half-open thing it does when truth lands and refuses returns. Do you want me now? She asked, not coy, not begging. An inventory of the present. Yes, I said. We didn't ask the room to help us. We didn't rehearse. I switched to a white that forgives. She pressed against me and kissed me with a warmth that was not the lamps. We navigated the furniture like we had rights. It wasn't acrobatic. No one tumbled, nothing fell. But there was a moment when she leaned back against the sideboard and exhaled into my mouth, and I remembered that the simplest geography is a mouth and two hands that learned each other first. YouTube would be fine. We stopped before the pasta overboiled into a metaphor we didn't need. She touched my face like I was both evidence and promise and moved to the stove. I turned the lights to our old scene, dinner like adults, and let the pink go where all colors go when they realize a better story is happening. At the table, we practiced the uniquely humiliating skill of keeping our heads up while we ate. She cut a mandarin into segments like communion, and we sucked the pith off the edges and laughed because citrus ignores drama. Her phone lit with Dash's name. She flipped it and returned to my face without missing a beat. I'll text him, she said. I'll say no more confessions that require dimmers. Tell him I can live without his color corrections, I said. Tell him he can go practice theater in rooms that auditioned for it. That night we slept under light that did not have an adjective. In the dark, she whispered, he once told me the pink was to make the room look like it wanted the same thing we did. I whispered back, the room doesn't get a vote. And we slept messy and decent. Day 2, I failed. Trucks learned how to be late at once and I came home like an apology without a mouth. The living room stood blandly and honest, a privilege we had earned by not theatrically renaming it. She sat with her hair in a knot and a robe that made threat and invitation synonyms. Now, she asked, as if offering me an exit I might be stupid enough to take. Later, I said, and then said, not never, because I know how semantics keep people alive. She kissed my forehead like a bartender checks an ID, and we watched a dumb show about people who argue with beautiful teeth. On day 5, the app tried to be helpful. Try romance, it suggested, glossy and neutral. I created a new scene and called it Hold Her Under the Lamp and Mean It. Warm, white, low, honorable. I ran it at 6:43 p.m. on purpose. I put her under that glow and told her with my hands what the language refuses to be because it's busy considering who else might be listening. On day 7, I ran into Roman outside our building. He carried a roll of drawings and a bag of limes, the man's idea of being accessible. He nodded in a way that didn't ask for anything and said, the color was a trick. I'm sorry I taught it to your room. He didn't look up at our windows. He didn't say her name like a claim. He didn't perform a scene for the sidewalk. Growth looks like someone trying not to be their best talent. Tricks are for rooms you can lock after, I said. This is an address. He smiled the tired smile of a man who used to love being told he was a risk. You're right, he said. Enjoy the boring miracle. Day 8, I came home early and found the light off and Myra at the counter slicing peaches, with the concentration of someone operating on a patient that requires sugar. I put my mouth on her shoulder before her hello was finished. She said yes without a word, and tilted her head to make space for me to do the one thing I do that never requires electricity. We let the timer beep into the air alone. The pan's protest softened. When we ate like people who understand that being fed has at least two meanings. On day 9, Dasha asked if we'd host an end of something. We said no, and I gave her the recipe for our dinner like adult scene, and she tried it at the bar and texted later to say strangers had leaned closer to each other without instruction. Charge them, I wrote back. Charge double if they whisper like they invented it. On day 11, the lamps misbehaved. We came home to a mild, rosy wash. The system had auto-updated and thought we wanted a seasonal evening. It was Roman's exact pink, but it lit up the corner where truth is shy. I took the phone out to scold the app and Myra put her hand over mine. Leave it, she said. Let's show it what the right reason looks like. We kissed with the lights doing their little advertisement and nothing felt stolen. For once, lighting kept up. On day 13, I made a scene called We Fell Asleep on the Floor After Laughing Too Hard. It was stupid. It was beautiful. We ran it after burning the toast and forgiving the toaster. We lay on the rug and told each other versions of our first terrible dates with people who still owe us apologies, and we invented the sound we make now when we aren't trying to be impressive. The lamps dimmed as if proud to be out of the way. On the 14th night, nothing remarkable happened. The room stayed in the same gray patience of a city that remembers summer by scent. We showered. We were cruel to towels. She put cream on her cheeks in the mirror, and I stood behind her and made eye contact the way good liars do before they retire. She said, "Do you want me now?" And I said, "Always," not as a magic spell, but as a promise to do maintenance. We turned the light to low white and used it properly. Later, with the apartment dark and honest, my phone flashed a memory. New scene suggestion based on your habits. It wanted to call it Golden Hour. I renamed it after We Tell the Truth. I assigned it to the old button where Roman had lived. My thumb hovered, felt the weight of it, and then pressed. Sometimes I still think about that first pink. The audacity of it. How it tried to seduce us into believing color is consent. Sometimes I miss the quick, theatrical mercy of a room that tells you what you want. Then she walks past the lamp and the air changes without permission, and I realize the only audience I've ever needed is the one who can look at my "I'm trying" face and say, "Now," like church bells. If you need a moral the app can digest, don't let your house name your life. If you need the uglier better one, stop waiting for the perfect light. People look good when they're chosen. A week after our 14 nights, a package arrived. No return address, handwriting too neat to be anyone I liked. Inside, a small dimmer switch engraved with a single word. Home. No note. We installed it by the door. Now when we walk in, we press that word with our fingers. The lamp obeys. The heat arrives. The room stays out of it. We do the part none of the devices can rehearse. I say now, she says yes, or 10 minutes, and either way the color is right because the bodies are.